Hey everybody, John the Other here, obviously. Now, anybody who has been following the Jian Ghomeshi stuff, or any other, multiple accuser case of sexual assault against, a high-profile celebrity, there's a trend that's emerging. Well, there's a couple of trends that are emerging. One of them, one of the most worrying, is that in the pre-criminal accusation, that is, the accusations that emerge through social media, through mainstream media, there is a fairly obvious layer of organization where these accusers all collaborate with one another, or they, look at each other's stories and they craft their stories to fit in, so that you get this organized brigading of what turn out in many cases to be fraudulent, fake, made-up, phony accusations. And we've seen the phony accusations over and over and over. So it's, there's a lot of people looking at this in the media and saying, well, we are now in a culture of phony accusations. But it's worse than that. It's much worse. We're in a culture of not just a growing trend of phony, make-believe criminal accusations against men, which ultimately destroy their lives even after they're shown to be phony, but this organized collaboration of criminal sexual allegations against men. But these brigade accusations are happening in this organized way where these accusers group up and collaborate with one another in advance. And we see a very clear example of this in the Jian Ghomeshi case, because Jesse Brown of the website and podcast Canadaland was one of the principal collaborators organizing these people and connecting them to each other. In fact, reaching out through the podcast, through the website, to solicit more people to join in the accusation. Now, in the Canadian justice system, if you field a spurious accusation, if you interfere with the criminal process in the way that these fake accusations have, that is called mischief, and it's a very serious crime. It's part of the criminal code. It's a indictable offence. I'll put a link to the criminal code description of it in the low bar. And in the court process, if you lie to the court, or if you lie in your deposition to the Crown or to the police, or if you withhold information from the Crown, that is perjury, which is also an indictable offence. It's a very serious crime. And we have now, specifically in the Ghomeshi case, all the accusers shown to have lied in their depositions, lied to the courts, withheld evidence, and collaborated with one another during the trial, but having faced no consequence. But these are serious crimes. Now, it doesn't matter at this point what Ghomeshi did or didn't do. These collaborations, these lies, these omissions, these deliberate deceptions of the police and of the Crown and of the court are very serious crimes, and they are occurring in an organized fashion with these people collaborating and working with each other. This is organized crime. This is an emerging new type of mafia, except it's not the traditional Italian mafia running numbers at a racetrack. They are using phony, cooked up, made up, spurious criminal accusations to vault the members of these collaborations into individual fame, into, becoming figures of public sympathy, into all the benefits they accrue as, blameless victims, even though their victimhood is fabricated. And with the court system and the police acting to protect the court-mandated anonymity of these accusers, we have our law enforcement agencies acting to reinforce and collude with this new style of criminal organization. And there seems to be no will or interest at all from the police or the courts in addressing this as a growing trend in organized crime. And I'm not just saying organized crime because it's a big hot buzzword. That's what it is. Now, Diana Davidson did a video, was simply the repeating of information that is widely available in all of the mainstream reporting already. The Toronto police contacted her and had her video taken down. There's some links in the low bar. You can figure out who these people are too. Now, with the lack of will to treat this criminal activity, these criminal collaborations, these mischief and abuse of the courts, lying to the courts, false allegations, and then withholding of information of the Crown, what you see is a very real positive benefit for these accusers in vaulting themselves into this position of fame and esteem as a noble victim, but no consequence, no legal or even no social consequence for their participation in what seems very obvious to me as a criminal enterprise. Each of these accusations is a crime when you're making a known false accusation, and then when you're collaborating with other false accusers, that's a criminal conspiracy. So the lack of the police's willingness to treat this as a crime, to prosecute, the lack of the Crown's interest in prosecuting, and the lionization of these lying false accusers by the media is sending a really, really clear signal that the huge positive benefit in being a victim is not balanced at all by any risk, by any consequence. So, of course, we're going to see more of this. This is a rapidly growing trend. And if it's not arrested, if it's not changed, if this just continues, and people like me are seen as outlying crazy crackpots, complaining about, oh, well, why are you blaming the victim, John? Well, we're going to have a really, really dark and dysfunctional society, because it will be actually impossible, literally and actually impossible, for men and women to coexist with each other, to work in the same space, to occupy the same space, to shop in the same stores. Because how can there be any trust between people when you have one entire demographic positively incentivized to field false accusations and completely untouchable by the law, while the other group is governed by the law but not protected by it? We're headed for a really, really dark, dangerous, and brutal future if this trend continues. And that's why I think outing these people matters. That's why I'm doing this video. Thanks very much for watching, and as always, have a lovely day.